Ash, we're a few weeks removed from that special day at Edgbaston. We lifted the Division 2 title. Looking back, how would you assess the season? How would you assess the culmination that led to that day?
A good season in the end. I mean, we started the year with the main goal being promotion back to Division 1. To achieve that at the first time of asking, I think a lot of people thought was a given or was going to be simple, but it was a tough division with some good teams, and a lot of those teams winning right through up until the end of the year. So Kent and Sussex particularly put a lot of pressure on us. But to finish the way we did, particularly in those last 6 matches, we played some really consistent cricket, got some momentum, and to finish as winners of Division 2 was fantastic, and great credit to all the players and all the coaches for all their hard work.
Obviously it's a team game, but there was a lot of players that stepped up towards the end of the season. Dominic Sibley, perhaps an up and down year, but he ended the season strong. Will Rhodes showed his capabilities. That must be really pleasing heading into next year.
Yeah, that was one of the most pleasing things, establishing that partnership at the top of the order. Both of them would have had wobbles at certain times during the season, but to finish with 400s for each of them, I don't know another opening partnership in the country that would have done that this year. So great start for them. It always takes a little bit of time for new players to bed in, and Will and Dom are certainly settling in now as proper Bears, as are our other recruits, and we continue to recruit, and hopefully our new guys will settle the same way.
You talk about transition younger players. Ollie Stone has stepped up this year. He's obviously got his rewards with England. Henry Brooks has had a big breakthrough. That's, for a sport director, a really pleasing thing as well to see these young players develop and come through.
Yeah, I mean the transition's an interesting one. I mean we've, I think there's about 11 players have changed over this 2-year period, or probably not even that long. It's an 18-month period really, from the start of 17 season to the end of 18, which is a big upheaval, and it causes a lot of stress, quite a lot of fear amongst the playing staff, as you can imagine. But again, credit to the players and credit to the management that we've still managed a high level of performance along the way. 50 over cricket, I thought we played some really good cricket and we're unlucky not to go through. T20 wasn't as good as we'd like, not as consistent, but as we've just talked about in the Championship, we played some really good cricket, and now we're seeing a real change in our squad, a change in the age profile, a change in personnel. That doesn't guarantee success next year, but certainly we're on the right track now.
That change of personnel must be difficult to have chosen, because Keith Barker and Chris Wright and other players, well, obviously Jonathan Trott did it on his own accord, but they were great servants, and they proved that towards the end of the season by continuing and making key wickets at key times.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're going to miss those guys because they've been very fine long-term servants of the club. But everything has to come to an end at some point. Barks and Wrighty go on and play cricket elsewhere, and we wish them well. Of course, not against us, but in the rest of their careers. Trotty's been a great servant, but his departure, his retirement now creates opportunity for someone else. We've had Adam Hose sitting in the second team most of the year. Matt Lamb had a taste of first team cricket and did pretty well. So there's an opportunity for those guys to battle it out for that position.
Fair to say they've got opportunities in white ball cricket as well?
Yeah, I mean there's positions and opportunity all the way down really through all teams. We saw Will Rhodes come in for our last 50 over game, and I hold my hands up that maybe we got that one wrong. He played really well here against Worcester. He offers a lot. He plays 360. So I would expect him to play a much bigger role in all cricket next year. Dom Sibley didn't play in the majority of T20. Neither did Matt Lamb. Aaron Thomason was injured for a lot of it. But you touched on earlier someone like Ollie Stone, Henry Brooks, the excitement around what those guys do. They bowl with pace. It creates a lot of energy in the field. And it's always nice for a captain and for a coach to have that in your armoury, really. We wish Ollie well with England, but we'd like to see him at some point. It would be really nice.
You mentioned the captain there. Jeaton's now gone back to New Zealand. He'll be playing for the Wellington Firebirds. It's been a terrific season for him, not just with the ball, more 50 wickets, but his leadership has been fantastic, especially with the younger guys as well.
Yeah, Jeets has done a fantastic job as captain. I think he'd openly admit that he perhaps came in like a bull in a china shop up front, but really grew into the role and looked a very mature leader by the end of the season. I hope he enjoyed it. I mean, it always helps when you're winning, but undoubtedly we'll have the respect of the guys for the performances he puts in, day out, and that was probably also the most pleasing thing for us. The big concern for us was him maintaining his own personal performance and having time to concentrate on his own game, but he did that really well.
Next question is regarding the Birmingham Bears. Obviously there's now going to be a captain void. Grant Elliott might not, well, he's officially retired, so he won't be coming back. Will that be something you'll be leaning on Jeton? Will that be a question you'll be asking him, or will you go outside the box on that one?
I think the likelihood right now is that Jeets will do it. If he's happy to. It's something we've discussed briefly, but I would think that's the way we go. Dom Sibley is obviously a young vice-captain, and hopefully he'll be ready to step in if Jeets were injured or missed a game for some reason. But yeah, we believe Jeets did a really good job this year, and he's more than capable of skippering across all forms.
And staying on Birmingham Bears, you mentioned a bit about incomings, but obviously there's an overseas spot. Colin de Grandhomme was the man last year. Would he potentially come back, or is there someone else you've got an eye on without giving us specific names?
Well, we're going to look at all options. I think Colin did pretty well for us. He averaged, off the top of my head, I think about 36 with the bat at a strike rate of about 180, which is pretty good. We were undone a lot of the time, and without making it a batters v bowlers thing, we went for a lot of runs at times, which we have to try and put right next year, and made our run chases very difficult. Colin with the ball probably wasn't as consistent as he would have liked to have been, but with the bat he still offers us a lot, and we know him really well. He fits in really well in the dressing room, but we'll have to look at all options, and spinning is an area with Josh Poysden leaving the club as well that it might be an area we need to strengthen.
When you look ahead to next season, is the T20 therefore something that's at the forefront of your mind, or is it on par with all the other formats?
Yeah, it's a really difficult one. I mean, when you start a season, I talked about this year, and going up was a priority, and it was, but you always try and compete across all forms, and sometimes you do better in the one you least expect. In 2017, we were a whisker away from winning T20. We never really expected that at the start of the season, and our championship form was really poor. This year we were probably the way around, that we're hopeful promotion, but it was going to be a real battle, but that we could carry on our T20 form from the previous year, and it just didn't happen. As a big club, we have to prepare to try and win all three, but as we've seen across the country, it becomes more and more difficult to focus your attention and your squad on all three forms of cricket.
Talk about preparation, therefore, that must lean on the coaching staff. You must be really pleased with their efforts this year, and how important do you think it is that all of them are so much associated with the Bears, either in the playing format or being familiar here for many years?
Yeah, I mean, it is important. I mean, ultimately, you want the best people, but we've got some very good people in the dressing room. I'm delighted for Jim Troughton. It was a real baptism of fire his first year, and actually the way that ship was moving, if you like, I don't think there was any turning it around at that time. I believe we've started to do that now, and a lot of that comes down to his consistency and his drive in the dressing room, and with the support of the other coaches. Graham Welsh coming back has been great for us. Even Jack Murphy coming in as a new S&C. Our days of injury, if you like, or days missed through injury of players has been dramatically decreased this year, and I think a lot of that comes down to the work of our medical team. And all these things make a big difference, because if you can keep your best team on the field, then you've got the best chance. But this winter, the conversations I've had with the coaching team already is really about, we've done all our recruitment. Let's really try and upskill our players, if you like, make them more skillful, make them better equipped for Division 1 cricket and the white ball forms as well.
There isn't not long now until the players get back, is there? So obviously it's all hands on deck ahead of the new season.
Yeah, it's guys will have about 4 or 5 weeks off. It will go very quickly for them, and we encourage them to take time away and stay away from the ground, go on holiday, spend some time with their partners, or their wives and their kids if they've got them, because when they come back in, before you know it, you're into post Christmas and the season creeps up on you. So it's important to make the most this time. When they come back, I mean, November and December are pretty flexible periods. Jack Murphy, I know, will drive him pretty hard from a physical standpoint, but then the work starts towards next year, and look, we can't afford to sit back and rest on anything we've done this year. We know Division 1 cricket's going to be tough next year, and we have to be prepared for it.
And as sporting director, is there any targets you're going to set, or is it just going to be a flowing thing that changes throughout the season?
It is dangerous to set targets, but I think a year, and this isn't meant to sound negative anyway, but of consolidating in Division 1 will be important, because it is a tough division. It appears that the formats of the divisional structure might change next year. So, let's stay in that division. If we can compete with some of these top sides and test ourselves, who knows? Because once you get into the final throes of the season, if you're in a position to strike, well, anyone can win it in a division that small. But what I'm really looking for, I suppose, is the same consistency we showed in Red Bull cricket this year, which is a real determined long form of the game, which was, I suppose, demonstrated in our bonus points, both most bowling points in the country and equal most batting points. And if we continue to play that sort of Red Bull cricket, I'll be pretty happy.